So I've been wanting to come on here and kind of share my story, bring some awareness to fentanyl. Um, a little bit about myself. My name is Dominic. I'm 24 years old, out of Las Vegas, Nevada. My fentanyl addiction first came about 2021, 2022. That's around like when pandemic started, or around that time. Uh, Basically, if you know, like, blues became a thing. Before blues, I was doing Xanax, Percocets, things like that, but everything back then was real. Now, everything is fake, but it looks real. Um, I was so naive now thinking back on it because like you could have gave me anything and I would have probably took it if it looked like a perk. Um, I don't think at that point yet I was in an opiate addiction. It was more so like a Xanax addiction, kind of. Not really, because I would just dibble and dabble. Had my few little blackouts here and there, but nothing major. Um, it started getting ugly once blues came about. And the funny story about blues is I ended up getting blues from a friend of mine who knew they were fake, but still wanted that money from me. You know, karma's a bitch. Because look at the tables now. He's still on perks and still fucked up. Um, Once I got on it though, that shit lasted for some years, and it was a very lonely, dark road that I didn't even know existed. Like, you thought suicide and like if you thought anything was hard, like addiction is the hardest thing a human possibly could probably pull themselves out of. Like, for you to be able to do that, it takes real strength, especially if you're on any type of opiates or alcohol or Xanax. Those addictions, you will die from a withdrawal. I've been through withdrawals, very many days, very many nights, um, lonely nights, painful nights, sleepless nights. Um, I mean, looking back on it now that I'm in the position I'm in, it's almost looks to me that it was necessary because I am hard headed. I did have to learn the hard way because that's just how men are. Truly, some men don't wake up at all. And some men might wake up at 30, some men might wake up at 20. Me, I woke up at 23 or 22, I believe, around there. But my beginning of wanting to get sober stemmed from how much pain came out of the addiction, how much brokenness and how much embarrassment came from it. Honestly, like, you genuinely have to be real with yourself if you ever want to get sober, as far as just being real about your addiction. A lot of people tend to lie and rationalize in their own mind the shit that they do, and I was one of those people. But I voluntarily went to NA meetings, and said the words, my name's Dominic, I'm a drug addict, and da 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 da. And I had to go through that shame. I had to sit in that shame. I had to go through these emotions. I had to realize, where my life was heading. And, a lot of the days I really wanted to kill myself, but I didn't have it in me. Now, I'm gonna be honest, the only support that I truly had was my mother, and even then, in the beginning of it, she didn't know how to support that. She didn't ever experience no fentanyl. Her generation was crack, and crackheads stayed alive for years and did mechanic work, did this, painters, this, that. Crackheads lived forever and did a million things. You did fentanyl once, you died. Once I was able to explain to my mother how she needed to help me, because she was my main source of motivation, but I also, my main source of motivation was that I was tired. I genuinely was sick and tired of being sick and tired. And until you genuinely get to that moment where you just physically, mentally, spiritually cannot do it anymore, you have to start planning a way out. And that's exactly what I did. I did my research. I did everything I could possibly do to learn on how I can go about this. All of the options were hard. None of the options were easy. And none of the options I wanted to do. But I knew I had to if I wanted to get over that addiction, that withdrawal, that pain. Those chains, that's what it is. Chains. You know, because I done met some of the best people that were drug addicts, but those chains held them down. Once I was able to get that sense of motivation and just being sick and tired, I was able to actually put myself into detox, because I knew it was a 90% fail rate if you do a detox at home. I tried to do every way you could possibly go. I went kratom, I did, water, drinking the water, did a bunch of shit. None of it worked. I knew I had to detox, because if not, I would have been running outside looking for a fucking blue. There was, many times that I wanted to not go. Matter of fact, I was sitting in the lobby, and it took us about 2-3 hours, or probably less than that. It just felt like that, to get me into the back. And the entire time I was sitting there like, I need to go, I need to leave. I was already en route to try and get someone to, give me some blues, even though I didn't have no money, didn't have nothing. But me, I was going to make it happen regardless, because I definitely was never the type to steal from my family, never was the type to steal, rob, none of that. I would ask. Simple as that. Put my pride aside, but I would never be in the street panhandling or none of that type of thing. I was not the typical drug addict where you see in the street where he's laid out, can't see, can't walk, can't nothing, don't even exist. That is what comes about if you continue to do those drugs, because your mind goes gone. Eventually though, after I got in, I did the 3 days in detox, voluntarily went, so I was able to voluntarily leave when I wanted to. So after I did that, I immediately went to go put on Suboxone, because I knew I wasn't going to be able to do no cold turkey, especially from a withdrawal. No. So got put on Suboxone. I was on Suboxone for about almost a year and a half. And up till recently, I just stopped taking Suboxone altogether. And in case you don't know, Suboxone is an opiate as well. Suboxone, you still get high. I don't care what no one says. You still get no different than methadone. None of that shit helps. As a matter of fact, that shit is just a change. It's like, here's the methadone instead of the perks, or here's the Suboxone instead of the perks. It doesn't make a difference to me. It's still, you're dead inside. You become dead inside. Not to mention the health issues that come with that. But I'm now, I believe, 4 weeks no Suboxone. I already did taper. I made 60 strips, last me 5 months, which is, in case y'all, if you don't know, that's 1 month's supply if you're taking 2 a day. I made that last me damn near 6 months. And when I got down to my last one, I just kept cutting them and cutting them and cutting them until I got to the very last speck of it. And I just never took it, because I kept tapering every day. Every 3-4 days, take one. Every 3, 4 days, 5 days, 6 days, see however long I could go without going through that withdrawal, and before it really bothered me. Now I'm at the point where I have no withdrawal at night. None. No withdrawal, no like restlessness, no like pain, no constipation, no nothing. I sleep like a baby at night now. Just to give you guys some type of perspective, I went from being that person, and as you can only imagine, the trauma and the pain and everything else that came with that, as far as just the pain that I induced into myself and for my family and everyone around me. From that to now, I work as a pest control technician. I have my own home, 5-bedroom home with a pool, have my own car, have my own money, don't need anything from nobody. And keep in mind, this was in a span of like a year and a half, almost 2 years, that I got and switched the entire trajectory of my life. And the main reason why I even wanted to come on here and speak on this at all, because obviously this is a very personal subject. I just want to put that out there because I know that there's people out there that have no hope, that don't see an end to their addiction, that don't feel that there is an end to an addiction. You know, I know what that feels like. I know what that hopelessness feels like. And I'm just here to say that, like, through God, through prayer, through work, through self, improvement, that's how I got to this point in my life. But I couldn't do that without the support of my family. That's the main thing. Support is how you're going to get through an addiction. Being real with yourself is how you're going to get through an addiction. And being able to sit in that shame, so that way when you move forward, I promise any one of y'all could comment on the video and call me a drug addict, call me this, that, and the third, and it would have no effect on me internally, because of the fact that I healed from this. I healed all of it. And I'm not gonna lie, like, every day was a work in progress. Every day was a day by day thing. But now it's no longer even a thought in my mind. Now I have the ambition to help others. Now I'm in the predicament that I can help others. And that's just the sole message of this whole video, is that if you think that you cannot get out of addiction, you can. You will. It is very possible that you can do it, but it's a matter of you wanting to do it. It's a matter of you not being like, oh, I'm going to go to rehab because my mom wants me to go, or they all want me to go, but in reality, you don't want to go. You just saying it because you don't want to make everyone feel bad and all this other shit. No, you have to genuinely fucking want to be done. And you have to be genuinely willing to put the fucking pride aside and the thought of like, fuck, I don't want to go in there and sit with all these fucking people and da-da-da-da-da. No, you have to go in there, go through the process. And once you come out, I promise you, even then is going to be another process. But that's the thing. You have to get through the hard part in order for you to get to the good part. The good part comes later on, but there's no good without bad. So for you to lie and even rationalizing your own head of like, I do want to get sober, but I don't want to withdraw, I don't want to get sick, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that, I don't want to go here, I don't want to go. Eventually, you're going to have to put yourself in the uncomfortable situation so you can heal. Because at the end of the day, it's just your body releasing and getting everything out. Once you get past your withdrawal, even if you get on Suboxone, that's a plus. That's a win. Suboxone is a fucking win, just so everyone knows. People think that if you take Suboxone, you're not sober. And they always told me, you're not sober, don't say you're sober, da-da-da-da-da. Okay, so if you're not doing fentanyl, pure Fetty, or blues anymore, that's a win. Because now, when I was able on Suboxone, I was able to get a job back. I was able to go to work, not be sick. I was able to take one Suboxone and it lasted me 3-4 fucking days of not being sick, probably even longer. But you have to be willing and wanting that. You cannot just be taking Suboxone like I'm gonna get high every fucking day. Been there, done that. You have to move with intention. You cannot move like you're just this drug addict. You have to shift the mentality, and that's exactly what I did. But to sum all of it up, I just want y'all to know that change is possible, that your family doesn't have to get that call that you passed away from an overdose, and your life can be what you want it to be. And I'm a living proof of that. If you knew me 2-3 years ago, I had nothing. Not a single thing to my name. And now I'm in a predicament that I can help others. And that's a blessing in itself. But I say all that with love. And I just want everyone to be willing to receive the message if you're in need of the help. Much love from everyone to everyone. Peace.